So, Sylvester Stallone, one of my all-time favorite action heroes, making a superhero movie. What can go wrong? Let's do this. Hello and welcome to another video here at Movie Mash, and today we're going to talk about The Samaritan. But before I carry on, please hit the subscribe button there below. It won't cost you nothing and it makes a big deal to the channel, so it's just there. Nice one. Now let's do this. So The Samaritan, starring Sylvester Stallone, Pillow Ashby and Jovan Walton, they're directed by Julius Avery, who also done as the Overlord, which was really good. So we're on to a good start. This film I've been waiting for, it seems like forever. Like the Flash movie. I've been waiting for this for a long time, but it was supposed to release, I think around the end of 2020. So we're 2 years old. Now, recently then I heard it wasn't going to the cinema, it was going to a streaming service, which was a bit worrying. I'm like, does the company not have faith in this movie? But, you know, it's got Stallone in it. I'm going to watch it anyway. Now, Amazon picked it up and bought it, and here we are today. It's out today for anyone who wants to watch it on Amazon. If you have the package, it's there. It's free. Yeah, well, free. When I say free, you don't have to pay extra for it. That's what I mean. Now, synopsis. Okay, so we have two superheroes back in the day. Two brothers hate each other. One's a villain, one's a hero, and there's a big showdown. They both die, supposedly. A lot of people today still believe that the Samaritan is still alive. And we have this young boy called Sam. He's a superhero crazy. He's a massive Samaritan superhero fan. And he believes that this guy's never died and is still alive. And comes across an old man played by Sylvester Stallone. And it turns out, yes, he was right, it's him. And he's involved with some pretty nasty people this kid gets involved in. And Stallone comes to the rescue and bing, bang, bosh, you have your film. I'm not going to go into too much. It's pretty much basic film, but that's pretty much the story so far. I'm not going to go on any more about it. Now, I love Stallone. I have seen all of his films more than once and probably will rewatch them again. And when I heard about this, like I said, I was super excited. And what I've seen of the trailers are great and all that. And I'm not going to lie, I had fun with this film. I thought it was everything I wanted it to be. It's, with all these superhero films we have today, I'm getting superhero fatigue, and I never ever thought I would say that. I mean, I still haven't seen the new Thor film, and I will watch it. I just haven't been rushing out. There was a time when I would have bought the ticket 6 months in advance, but now I just haven't got around to it. Now, with Stallone, as I say, he's a big deal to me. I love him, and I think he's great. So I really wanted to watch this, and he was absolutely great on it. We see different sides of him. We see different shades of how he feels, a broken inside. I mean, like, it's nothing we haven't seen him done before, but this I felt like he was fleshed out quite well. I felt he was a broken man living in solace, kind of quiet, keeping a nice life, and gets involved with this thing, and he has to come back out of hiding, you could say. And I think he did that really good. The young boy played Sam, is Jovan Walton. I thought he was okay. I actually liked the dynamic between him and Stallone, the relationship. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty nice. The boy was a good actor. He was fine. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. He was just good. There was no point you go, oh. So as long as you don't notice how bad he is, that's great. So I thought he did really well. The bad guy, Pillow Ashby. Well, I've seen him. He's on a few things. I think he was on Game of Thrones, and he's on the new Salem's Lot coming up soon. So wait for that coming up. Check out my video. But as I say, he was quite generic. I see it. He's on it quite a lot. So I feel like we should have seen more of who he is and what he is. But he was just pretty generic bad guy. And that brings me to the negatives. The negatives about this film is it's pretty generic. And it's got everything I wanted it to be, but it's not going to break the mold. It's not going to be a film that changes the superhero genre. It's stuff that we have seen before many times. And because it's Stallone, he's the one who makes this good. If Stallone wasn't in it, I don't think this would have been as good as it was. And I do feel it's fitting for a streaming service. I think if you went to the big cinema to see this, the big movies, to watch this, I think it would have been a little bit underwhelming. And now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad thing. It's still a good movie, and it was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. If you go in knowing it's just going to be a generic bing bang bosh kind of a superhero film and nothing crazy about it, then you'll have fun. But for me, I feel if Stallone wasn't in it, it wouldn't have been as good. He brings his character and his A game in this. He does everything you want. He's likable, and the action Stallone. When it comes to the action, I mean, he nearly invented the word. So yeah, with the negatives, that's what I'll say. As the bad guy, he was on it more than I felt he needed to be, because he was on it so much. You expected more depth from him, and it was just generic. I'm a bad guy for all reasons. Do you know what I mean? But as I say, like, everything else was just a generic film. Nothing we've seen before, we haven't seen before. And I feel like it's not going to break the mold. But going back to the positives, if they made a sequel, I would go and see it. I would see it still. And if I went to the cinema to see this, I'd be quite happy. But I can see why people may be a bit put off if they hadn't. It was fine for a streaming service. It had all the effects and all the action. But one thing about the negatives I will say is I was hoping for some more action. And there is plenty of it. I was just hoping for a bit more. The fighting elements we see in it was pretty good. And Stallone, again, like, you know, he's 76 and he's still bringing it. As I said, I feel like we could have got a bit more action in this movie. But again, I'm not going to moan because we got plenty and I was fine, it was sufficient. Now, I'm not going to go on about spoilers because it's really nothing to spoil, but there is a reveal at the end, which I quite liked, to be honest with you. I'd like to have seen more about this reveal, to be honest with you. And maybe if there's a sequel, we can kind of talk about or see more about this reveal. But in whole, I was happy enough with the reveal. The end fight, which you can imagine with the bad guy, I feel like the bad guy wasn't super powered enough to go up against Stallone or the Samaritan. I felt like we needed someone on his par, and like it just didn't give us enough explanation why this other guy. I know he had something that was helping him, but it just felt like the end fight was good enough. It's just it felt like this guy was able to, Stallone could take on hundreds of people, and now he's struggling with one guy. And I know people, oh yeah, but he had this and he had that. Yeah, still. But you know what? It's still a generic film. I reckon this film, if it came out in the 90s, this would have been a massive, massive hit. But because of the films we have today with the superhero movies and the saturation we have going on, and let's face it, some of the superhero movies today are really fucking good, you know. I feel like this film would have benefited more from the 90s. But without Stallone, this film wouldn't have been as great. But Stallone made this film really good for me, and I am still going to give it a thumbs up. But that's because I knew what I was going to see. This is what I was expecting. If you're expecting this to break the mold and be something super different to anything else, you're going to be wrong. If you're going in knowing it's just going to be a nice action movie with Stallone playing Stallone the best he can be, then you're going to love it. If not, you might be a little bit disappointed, but that's all I have to say. I think this film is pretty decent. I enjoyed it. I had fun. And yes, if there was a sequel, I would 100% see it. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about that. But I'm definitely going to give this a thumbs up. Now, let me ask you, have you seen it? Are you going to watch it? Are you a big Stallone fan? Let me know in the comments below, and like and subscribe as normal. But for now, and until next time,